Jonah Hale realized something was wrong when the hall went quiet before the fire even cracked. He stood alone at the center of the throne chamber, palms damp, spine straight, heart punching his ribs like it wanted out. Every other delegate had chosen distance. Every other seat near the throne was empty. The princess sat above them all. She was young, impossibly still, with fair skin and long platinum blonde hair spilling over a dark, sculpted gown. Firelight painted her face in gold and shadow. An obsidian crown rested on her head like a warning rather than a jewel. They said sitting close to her brought madness. They said her species radiated judgment. They said humans couldn't survive prolonged exposure. Jonah didn't believe in rumors. He believed in pressure tolerances, power curves, and broken machines. The seat beside the throne waited. Unclaimed. Avoided. A metallic voice echoed through the hall, ancient and bored. By treaty, one must sit. No one moved. Jonah swallowed. He thought of the failing jump gate. Of a million souls stranded if it stayed broken. Of how every expert had refused the job once they learned who ruled this system. So he walked. Boots rang too loud on the stone. Whispers followed him like insects. The princess watched, eyes sharp and cold, unreadable as deep space. He took the seat. The air changed instantly. Heat, pressure, a hum he felt in his teeth. The princess turned her head slowly. Up close, her gaze wasn't cruel. It was lonely. You are either very brave, she said softly, or very foolish human. Jonah exhaled, forcing a crooked smile. Depends, he replied. Am I about to die? The flames surged higher. She didn't answer. And that silence was far worse. The silence stretched until Jonah's ears rang. He felt it then, a pressure behind his eyes, like standing too close to a reactor core. Not pain. Assessment. The princess rose from the throne. Her cloak whispered across stone as she descended the steps, firelight sliding along the dark metal of her crown. Up close, she was taller than Jonah expected. Stronger. Not just regal, but engineered by survival. You do not avert your eyes, she said. I'm an engineer, Jonah replied, voice tight. If something's dangerous, I look harder. A flicker crossed her face. Surprise quickly buried. Around them, the court held its breath. Alien nobles leaned back, claws gripping armrests. Several activated discreet shielding fields. You know what they believe about me, the princess said. That prolonged proximity erodes lesser minds. Jonah nodded once. Radiant neural feedback, biocyanic bleed. Yeah, I read the reports. Her eyes narrowed. You stayed anyway. Because your jump gate is collapsing, he said. And because you didn't ask for this reputation. That landed harder than he meant. For a heartbeat, the fire dimmed. She studied him as if he were a puzzle no one had bothered solving. You speak to me as if I am a person, she said quietly. Jonah shrugged, though sweat soaked his collar. Queens still need lights that turn on. A faint, dangerous smile curved her lips. My name, she said, is Seraphine. The word vibrated through the chamber, old and heavy. Jonah, he answered. From Earth. The pressure in his skull eased slightly. Seraphine stepped closer. So close he could feel the heat of her presence, sharp and alive. Then listen carefully, Jonah of Earth, she murmured. If you fail, the gate dies. And if you succeed, she continued, voice dropping, you will learn why no one sits beside me twice. The flames roared. Jonah met her gaze. Then let's not waste time. Seraphine laughed once. Soft, unpracticed. And somewhere deep in the hall, something ancient stirred. Jonah followed her through the corridors beneath the throne hall, each step echoing like a warning. The walls weren't just stone, they thrummed with a hidden energy, faint but insistent, vibrating through his boots. This place, he muttered, glancing at the carvings, scenes of battles, of stars ripped open, of creatures that shouldn't exist. It's older than any record we have. Seraphine's gaze didn't leave him. Older than most of your species too, she said. Her voice was calm, yet it carried a weight that pressed against his chest, and it remembers. Jonah swallowed. He'd worked in countless dangerous environments, fusion cores, plasma conduits, asteroid mining rigs, but nothing felt alive in this way. Here, every shadow seemed to watch, every flicker of flame whispered judgment. At a junction, she paused. The gate is in the reactor chamber below. You'll see what my court fears. He nodded, tension coiling in his stomach. Radiation leaks, structural instability. Both, she said, and more. The corridor suddenly brightened as a strange bioluminescent moss shimmered along the walls. Jonah squinted. Its patterns weren't random. They pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. He realized with a jolt that it matched Seraphine's pace. You feel it too? He asked. Yes, she whispered. This world feels my presence. It tests those who approach. Jonah's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed danger, yet every instinct told him he could solve this. Finally, they reached the chamber. The jump gate loomed, massive and broken, arcs of unstable energy snapping in the dark. Sparks hissed as if alive, and the air smelled of ozone and ozone alone. Jonah froze. This is worse than the simulations. Seraphine stepped forward, placing a hand on the control panel. The metal rippled slightly under her touch, as if responding. Then fix it, she said softly, eyes locking with his, before it kills us all. Jonah inhaled, gripping his tools like a lifeline. But the moment he reached the first panel, something moved behind him, fast, silent, and unmistakably alive. He wasn't alone in the chamber. And the thing staring at him smiled. Jonah whipped around, wrench in hand. A shadow flickered across the far wall, too fluid, too deliberate to be a trick of the light. His heart slammed against his ribs, but he forced himself to stay calm. Engineers didn't panic, they assessed. The figure stepped forward, small, swift, almost human, but its eyes glowed faintly like molten silver. Jonah froze. Every instinct screamed, run, yet he didn't move. Seraphine's voice cut through the tension, do not touch it. Jonah's eyes shot to her, what is it? It's a guardian, she said, her tone clipped, almost afraid. Of this gate, it tests all who interfere. The creature tilted its head, curious, and then mimicked Jonah's movements, subtle like it was learning. Jonah's pulse raced. This wasn't just a mechanical defense, it thought and it judged. He swallowed, then I guess I better pass the test. He crouched and touched the nearest panel, deliberately slow, letting the guardian see he was unarmed, non-threatening. Sparks danced across the gate as his tools engaged. The guardian inched closer, silver eyes watching, and Jonah realized it wasn't attacking, yet. Why are you helping me? He whispered to Seraphine. Her eyes softened slightly, the first warmth he'd seen from her. Because someone has to understand it, Jonah, and I cannot. The guardian extended a claw-like limb, hovering inches from his shoulder. Jonah held his breath, imagining the headlines, human engineer incinerated by alien princess's guardian. Then slowly, deliberately, it withdrew. Its eyes lingered on him for a heartbeat longer than necessary, then darted toward Seraphine. She nodded, it approves for now. Jonah exhaled, tension unraveling in one long, shaky breath. But the moment he did, alarms blared and the gate's unstable energy surged violently. Sparks leaped higher, the floor rattled, and a deep hum vibrated through the chamber. Seraphine grabbed his arm. It's reacting to you, she shouted over the roar. Hurry, Jonah. He looked at the broken circuits and wires. Every calculation in his head screamed disaster, but one thought grounded him. If he failed, there would be no humanity left in this sector. And then something unexpected happened. Her hand rested on his shoulder, not commanding, supportive. The hum of the gate grew louder, the chamber trembled. Jonah realized the test wasn't just for him. It was for both of them. And the gate wasn't done judging yet. Jonah's fingers flew over the panels, sparks scattering like fireflies in the dim chamber. Each wire he touched sizzled with unstable energy, and the jump gate groaned like a living beast. He felt sweat stinging his eyes, his hands trembling, but he couldn't stop. Not now. Seraphine knelt beside him, voice low but urgent. Stabilize the core or it will overload, and if it does, her eyes darkened. We won't have a chamber left to crawl out of. Jonah's chest tightened, then we fix it together. The words surprised them both. She looked at him, really looked, and something in her eyes softened, the weight of centuries of isolation, the solitude of a throne no one dared approach. He caught himself staring too long. Heat rose to his face, but he didn't look away. There was a connection here, fragile, unspoken, but real. The guardian appeared again, crouched silently in a corner, its silver eyes following every motion. Jonah realized it was learning them, testing their coordination, watching if they could move as one. He held a breath. It trusts us, sort of. Seraphine's lips twitched, almost a smile. Do not flatter yourself, human. It does not trust anyone fully, but perhaps you're different. Jonah laughed, a shaky sound that echoed across the chamber. Different enough to die fixing your giant toy, you mean? For a moment she didn't respond. Then she placed a hand on the nearest panel, guiding his adjustments. Firelight danced across her crown, shadows and brilliance twisting across her features. Something inside Jonah shifted. Fear became focus, panic became precision, and together, human and alien princess, they orchestrated the impossible. Wires reconnected, plasma conduits realigned, energy arcs tamed. Then sudden clarity, the gate hummed steadily, glowing a calm azure. Jonah exhaled, leaning back, every muscle shaking. Seraphine's hand lingered on his shoulder, but neither moved it. Her eyes, still intense, held something like admiration or curiosity. The chamber fell silent, except for the soft, almost satisfied chitter of the guardian. Jonah looked at her, heart hammering. We did it. Seraphine's gaze softened, almost human. Yes, she whispered, but you should know stability here is temporary. The gate has preferences and it likes boldness. Jonah frowned. Preferences. She tilted her head, long platinum hair brushing stone, and sometimes it rewards courage. The flames around the chamber leapt suddenly, brighter, warmer. Jonah felt an unexpected surge, like the air itself was approving him. And then behind them a shadow shifted, something larger, something alive. The chamber wasn't done testing them, and neither were the secrets of Seraphine's throne. Jonah turned sharply, heart thudding. The shadow moved with purpose, a massive, coiled form that shimmered like liquid metal under the firelight. His breath caught. The chamber was no longer just a room, it was a crucible, alive and aware. Seraphine stepped forward without hesitation, placing herself between Jonah and the creature. Her platinum hair shimmered, her crown catching the light like an obsidian blade. It senses fear, she said, voice calm but firm. Do not give it anything to feed on. Jonah swallowed, gripping his tools like weapons. I'm not afraid, he said, even though every nerve screamed danger. The creature circled, watching, testing. Then it paused, eyes glinting silver. Its form rippled almost like water, and Jonah realized it wasn't just alive, it was intelligent. He thought of all the simulations he'd ever run. Nothing prepared him for this. Seraphine's gaze met his. It judges our intentions, be honest. Do you want to protect the gate or just survive? Jonah hesitated. He felt the weight of a million stranded souls pressing down on him, the responsibility of every human relying on his hands. His chest tightened. I want to protect it for everyone. The creature's movement slowed, its silver eyes fixed on him, then shifted to Seraphine. For the first time, Jonah saw her expression falter, vulnerable, human. You are reckless, she whispered, and foolish, but perhaps also necessary. The creature emitted a low, resonant hum that vibrated through the stone. Sparks from the gate danced harmlessly around it. Jonah realized it wasn't attacking, it was acknowledging him, accepting him. A thrill surged through him. He glanced at Seraphine. For the first time she smiled, not the guarded, distant smile of a queen, but something softer, almost tender. We've earned a reprieve, she said. Jonah exhaled, relief flooding him. For now, he said. Her eyes glinted, unreadable. Yes, for now, but there is more to this throne than you understand, and soon you will see why every human before you turned away. A metallic click echoed. The chamber walls shifted slightly. Something ancient stirred beneath their feet. Jonah's stomach dropped. The test wasn't over. And neither was the lesson Seraphine intended to teach him. The chamber trembled, stone groaned, sparks leapt higher, illuminating the massive throne above them where Seraphine had once sat alone. Jonah's heart pounded, and for a moment he thought the jump gate would tear itself apart. But then Seraphine stepped closer, her hand brushing his shoulder again, steady, grounding. Jonah, she said softly, you chose to sit beside me when no one else would. That act changes everything. He swallowed, staring at her. I just couldn't leave everyone stranded. I didn't think about glory. Her laugh was quiet, a note of disbelief mixed with something tender. Most humans think only of survival, you think of others. Jonah felt warmth he hadn't expected creeping along his chest. In her presence, cold and commanding as she was, he felt seen, whole. The guardian moved, stepping closer, then receded, leaving the path to the gate clear. Jonah realized it had passed judgment and approved. He took a deep breath, hands steady, and restarted the final sequence. The gate hummed, its unstable arc smoothing into a steady glow. The chamber vibrated in harmony, a song of power and life. He glanced at Seraphine, her platinum hair shimmered in the firelight, her obsidian crown casting shadows like protective wings. You did it, she said. Her voice carried a quiet awe uncharacteristic of the queen they all feared. Jonah smiled, exhausted. We did it. She studied him, expression unreadable, then placed a hand over his. Not commanding, not distant, intimate, a silent acknowledgement. The flames roared one last time, then settled. The jump gate stood alive, stable and humming with energy. Around them, the throne hall no longer felt oppressive. It felt alive, expectant, like it was waiting for something new. Seraphine leaned slightly closer, voice barely a whisper. Perhaps humans are not so fragile after all. Jonah chuckled softly, and perhaps queens aren't so unreachable. For the first time in centuries, the princess smiled fully. And Jonah realized that bravery wasn't about fearlessness. It was about choosing to step forward when everyone else stepped back. Outside, the stars waited, but now with the gate restored and the human who dared beside her, the future felt possible. And for the first time, Seraphine didn't have to rule alone. The shadows of the throne hall shifted one last time, almost approvingly, as if the world itself acknowledged what had been won. The legend of the human engineer and the alien princess who dared let him close was only beginning.